Hello everyone, this is Scarzig and welcome back to another viewer replay review. Today's replay comes to us from JackxTrede, and he is playing Vetruvian here in this matchup versus Cassava. Now the special thing about this replay is that it is going to be the first one for my channel that includes the new Shim'zar cards. So I'm really excited to see a few of these new cards in action. And we also have Vetruvian, which has received a lot of really good cards for this new set, going up against Cassava, which a lot of people are saying that Shadow Creep decks are still very strong. So we will see how the two powerhouses of the meta stack up against each other. So let's hop right in. Starting off, we can see that Jack is running a lot of Obelisk, of course, and he did manage to pick up a Spine Cleaver, which should be pretty interesting considering Abyssian tends to summon a lot of really small units that are going to be food for this, for sure. Alright, so right off the bat, Linear Fox, his opponent, steps forward and just plays the Spectral Blade. That's a decent turn one because it allows you to slay any small units that your opponent is going to be playing. Unfortunately, it's not enough to kill an Obelisk outright. Normally, you'd want your opponent to play like a 2-3 or something so you could one-shot it and then get your health back. Spectral Blade's really good for helping Abyssian control the early game because of that. We'll see how he deals with this Obelisk, however. Oh, very nice. Decides to go for the Saber Spine Tiger along with Spectral Blade. What's especially valuable about this play is because Obelisks don't have any attack. So the Saber Spine Tiger gets to do its 3 damage as it comes into play, and then it leaves behind a fresh 3/2 body that Jack is going to have to find a way to deal with. He decides to play the Fireblaze Obelisk, which is a bit unfortunate because it'll die for free to the Spectral Blade and Saber Spine Tiger here again. What he maybe could have done is played it back another square before he moved forward, which would have left it alive in a safer spot. The thing about the Fireblaze Obelisk, because it has that passive that increases the attack power of dervishes, it's okay if it's not in an ideal position where it's going to be spawning dervishes for you to use. Just as long as it's buffing your other ones, it generally gets enough value. We can see here a strange interaction where the Shadow Nova actually overwrites the Mana Spring tile, which I actually haven't seen before. Generally, the Shadow Creep doesn't start coming out until after the mana's already been gathered, so I wonder if that interaction has always been there. But the Clutch Star's Fury does come down, allows Jack to clear the Spectral Blade and kill the Saber Spine Tiger, but it looks like Linear Fox is just going to develop the exact same thing and keep the party going. So, coming down here, Jack is going to develop the Amera Healer. I felt that that would be the best play. It's going to survive the Spectral Blade hit as well as the Saber Spine Tiger hit. And when it dies, Jack will get some health back, so that'll keep him in the game, hopefully. But Linear Fox is actually able to clear it quite nicely, decides to hit it with the Spectral Blade. He's not afraid of taking that damage because he has such strong board control here, with the 2 Shadow Novas now come down, and the Saber Spine Tiger that he is actually neglecting to attack with. He's using it to body block. He knows that Jack is going to need to hit it if he wants to clear it, so he'll take that 3 damage anyway. And you can see it's keeping him on the Shadow Creep. He's actually decided to swing around with the Spine Cleaver to create a Bloodfire Totem. And he doesn't mind taking that 1 damage this particular turn, since because he got the Amera Healer proc, things are starting to sort of swing back in his favor. And what's really nice about the Shadow Creep changes is because they're only doing 1 damage, you can kind of make that executive decision, right? You can weigh the pros and cons of taking that 1 damage. Unfortunately, because of the Shadow Creep, it's going to just completely eat his artifact. So he only got the 1 proc to summon a Bloodfire Totem, but because the Bloodfire Totem spawns under your opponent's control, it's not going to be taking damage from Shadow Creep. Cassava is going to be taking 1 damage each turn from the Bloodfire Totem. And we'll see if Jack can snowball that into victory. He goes ahead and summons 2 obelisks right on the shadow creep. He's not really caring, again, about those taking 1 damage pings. It's better for him to use these bulky units to block off his opponent. Fortunately, the Reaper of the Nine Moons only pulls an obelisk, so it's not that big a deal. Spectral Revenant comes down, and it's just going to start molesting these obelisks. I don't think Jack has anything that is going to be able to clear this Spectral Revenant in time, so we'll see how he deals with that. Dropping the Amera Healer here would be nice to buy him another turn, causing the Spectral Revenant to be forced to attack it. But we'll see if that second proc decides to pull him out of the ditch here. Siphon Energy, very clutch, coming down for the draw off of Whisper of the Sands. If you'll recall, Whisper of the Sands summons a Wind Dervish nearby each friendly obelisk and then draws you a card. So he was able to get a really clutch Siphon Energy off of that. I would have liked to see the Amera Healer be played here rather than here, so that it's a bit closer to the Abyssian General to get in and attack if he needs to. Sphere of Darkness coming down. That's going to make Jack take 1 damage from that Shadow Creep tile. And as you can see, this game has been going, very typically. It doesn't look like Cassivus had to really give up anything too major in order to develop all of this Shadow Creep passively. Unfortunately, you can no longer hover over the Shadow Creep to see how many tiles there are, but by my count, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10 or 11, just as a quick count. So the Obliterate coming down would definitely end the game here. And as you see, if the Amera Healer was a bit closer to the action, it could have moved to this spot where the Fireplace Obelisk is. Nimbus coming down, which is an incredibly strong card. Jack needs to remember to move his General off of this Shadow Creep tile as well, and does not. Blazehound comes down. Linear Fox is going to be fishing for a finisher for sure. Reaper of the Nine Moons also coming down. I'm willing to bet that Jack might only have 1 or 2 copies of Nimbus, and it's a good thing that Reaper only got an obelisk on that first pull. And you see Jack didn't move, so he took that extra damage. That is probably going to cost him. If a Spectral Revenant comes out here, then it will just be able to rush in and hit him for 6. I would probably want the Nimbus, to take out the Blazehound. Reaper of the Nine Moons has flying, however, so it's going to come through and actually hit him. So now that I'm thinking about it, using taking out Reaper of the Nine Moons, risking him getting a good pull off of it is probably going to be a lot better than having that 5 damage come through. And because he's forced to step onto the Shadow Creep tile to get closer to the Amera Healer to try to protect himself, Reaper of the Nine Moons is just going to be able to swing around and hit him, and then he'll be finished off by the Shadow Creep. Really? Did he dispel that Reaper of the Nine Moons? No, it pulled a creature. So Linear Fox here, he had the Obliterate, so he just kind of BM'd him a little bit. That's really unfortunate. That just hit for 17 damage. Draw. Oh, that's right, the Amera Healer! The Amera Healer procced! Holy hell, that was a really good match. If Linear Fox had flown the Reaper of the Nine Moons around, and oh my goodness, what a crazy match. You can definitely see that Vetruvian can hold on. It can hang tough with the Shadow Creep Abyssian. It's probably going, most matches are probably going to come down to whether or not Reaper of the Nine Moons gets a good pull. So if you ever find yourself faced with this matchup, make sure that you're saving your siphon energy for Reaper of the Nine Moons, or maybe even packing a couple light benders into your deck. It's going to be difficult as Vetruvian because you could hit your own obelisks, so maybe, you know, 3 siphon energy, and if you can fit them, Ephemeral Shroud might be a good option as well. But thank you so much, Jack, for sharing this replay with us, giving me my first taste of Shim'zar in action with an excellent draw game, which is something that a lot of us probably haven't seen in quite some time. So thank you again. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time.